Yeah, I don't know about that idea.
Spy is using both the kunai and the deadringer, which of course he is because it's the universe we live in. Spies share one collective brain cell. There is no god.
I think he's a little mad at spies. Generic controlling the theduckgoesmoo, back with another Bad Weapon Academy. Today we are doing the Tribalman's Shiv, which is a weapon I have never used in all of Team Fortress 2. I know this video is a month old, and I usually always get to the Team Fortress 2 videos, and I used to do them like every single week. I actually used to do, I think, 2 a week, but now just with all the videos I'm having to do, when I did 100 videos in for the month of December, I've actually been slowing down and limiting myself on how many videos I can make, but so many people want so many videos that I'm working myself to death, and it's still not enough for people. But I will get around to the TF2 videos eventually. Thank you so much for being patient. I do read every single comment, so I've been seeing the comments asking for this for so long. You can check my reaction to the last Bad Weapon Academy, which was the Sandman, another weapon I've never used. I'll leave that right up there. Also going to be linked down below in the description. Also going to be in 2 playlists on my channel, one being Bad Weapon Academy reactions, and the other one's going to be Team Fortress 2 reactions. I need to show my best friend Kirby other TF2 videos like expiration date and into the line and stuff like that, because I showed her meet the team and so many people loved that video. I also stream Team Fortress 2. I'll be streaming this coming up Friday, playing on Onkotopia server. You're more than welcome to join me for that. Also, shout out to the patrons. They get the videos daily. Lobby tonight for paywall on channel. Could not do this without them. Fish Stick has 108,000 subscribers, which is awesome. I actually think I saw Fish Stick in the chat of Game Champ 3000's video about beating Rock Band 4 without getting hit, which is crazy. But I'm excited to jump into this. Let's go ahead and get into it. I don't like the color between the blade and the handle. It just doesn't sit right with me. Alright, here we go. I've never used this thing. It's also been like 2 months since I've reacted to a Bad Weapon Academy video.
That's right. Now you're gonna bleed. Maybe.
Maybe.
I don't know. I did it.
Wait,
I got a bleed kill.
Got on a scout.
And I might
scout.
not have gotten that bleed kill without the Shiv.
Why? I don't know how the Shiv works. Okay.
Welcome to Bad Weapon Academy.
You get
We take a look at the worst weapons TF2 has to offer, and I show you how to best utilize them. When it comes to sniper melees, it's pretty much no contest. The Bushwhacker wins.
Oh,
Between how easy it is to apply Girardi onto not just one enemy, but a whole herd of them, and the insane damage it'll put out with no downsides to its damage or swing speed, it's pretty clearly Sniper's best melee, and one half of one of the most imbalanced interactions in the entire game. It's not that the stock Kukri is bad, it's just that with very little reason not to run Girardi, and it doing so much damage, it feels like a straight upgrade as long as Girardi, or even the Cleaner's Carbine, is your secondary of choice. But
I'm forced to
what
use
if you want to do more damage than the stock Kukri without being complete bullshit?
Because people like to target the streamer.
Well, my friend, in that case, use the Shansha, I guess.
The Shansha.
It's okay. It can help you out sometimes. Oh yeah, and also this thing. Yeah, the Tribalman Shiv. This is arguably one of the most useless weapons in the entire game.
But
why is that? Well, it won't be hard to find out. So let's get into
kill with it.
The Tribalman Shiv is one of Sniper's few melee options.
50% damage
like
penalty?
his other melee unlocks,
6
it
seconds.
has very simple
2 stats.
Your melee damage is halved in exchange for 6 seconds of bleed damage against whoever you hit with.
18 more.
So what this means is that your melee hit will now deal a measly 33 base damage, and your random crits go from basically invalidating Sniper's close range weakness with a dice roll, which is spectacular game design, to maybe killing a light class after a few seconds if they're not near a health pack. But it can still one-shot kunai spies, assuming they don't have a backstab, so that's nice. So can literally anything else in the game, though. Also, of course, he's going to have a fucking backstab. It's the goddamn kunai. But of course, the main draw is that 6 seconds of bleed damage. This amounts to 48 extra damage, or 60 extra damage if it's mini crit boosted, which is very relevant on Sniper, considering 2 of his secondaries and 1 of his primaries can provide him with mini crits on all weapons. Now, if you're using one of those weapons, you might be wondering why you wouldn't instead use the melee that turns those mini crits into full crits, and to that I say... Anyways, this means if you get full bleed, your damage will look something like this. 81 damage with a normal hit, 104 damage if both the melee hit and the bleed damage are mini crit boosted. A random crit with bleed will do 146 damage, And if you get a random crit with mini crit boosted bleed, you'll
that
do
you only
158 damage to the enemy.
What are the
This puts the
chances?
Shiv in a
Super
very
low.
interesting spot, where without crits, it's technically stronger than the stock melee, and just as strong as a boosted Shansha hit right out of the gate. But when crits are involved, it's a different story. And it fails to cross the damage threshold
so
to
maybe
kill
on Okatopia
medics
it's not
and
bad.
gunslinger engineers unless you're mini crit boosted. And that's after 6 full seconds of waiting for the effect to run its course.
Nice.
As Tom Petty once said, the waiting is the hardest part.
Tom Petty,
when you're a sniper, every millisecond that someone is up in your face counts.
Oh, they're friendly.
By equipping the Shiv, you're basically saying that
I'll kill you
plan
later.
on surviving any of your close range fights to begin with, and have resigned yourself to dying after hitting someone who gets in your face maybe once
and then making
lucky,
them bleed.
Because as long as the bleed runs its course, that's more damage than you do with the stock kukri in one hit. And for mere mortal snipers who can't hit those insane close range quickscopes
like that,
or insane close range huntsman headshots, which are apparently perfectly fine, literally just because they're a projectile.
Yeah.
Even if that projectile is only on screen for a fraction of a second and has an extremely generous hitbox.
Or what did you just pop up on the screen there?
Who don't run Jarate Bushwhacker out of principle, that's an understandable position to take. But you're honestly better off just rolling with the kukri, because a random crit is going to secure you a kill and save your life far more often than bleed is going to get you a posthumous kill. After getting 75 kills with the Shiv, only 6 of them are posthumous for me. Now, if you play on servers without random crits
Okatopia, where I play on Fridays with viewers.
Well, that's no big deal, because without random crits, it's effectively a straight upgrade to stock. And you might have a point if it wasn't so easy to get rid of the bleed effect. Now granted, it's not nearly as easy to get rid of as Afterburn, but health packs, medics, and dispensers will still ensure that you're not going to take advantage of that extra damage nearly as often as you want. Turning your damage range without random crits from 81 to 104 to 33 to 104. That's way less reliable for a class who needs reliable damage if he's going to survive a close range fight. Not to mention, let's say you get into an engagement with a demo.
I keep my distance.
You're probably going to lose this engagement
almost
if you
every
get
time
into melee range, especially without a one-shotting random crit on your side and with a guaranteed crit on his side.
Oh god, it's solar light.
It might be worth it to get a bleed on a target that healthy, right? No.
He
charges away back to safety and removes the bleed effect with the charge at the same time.
Wait, you can remove with the charge?
I guess he's charging so fucking fast that the air molecules around him just seal his wounds closed.
Is that a bug?
And I've saved the worst for last, and that's Spy Cloak. A spy is easily the class you're going to engage in a melee fight with the most often, unless you're extremely dedicated to Carbine Sniper Knight. Now, melee fighting a spy in the first place is already a bad idea because trick stabs are just bullshit face stabs that spy mains like to pretend were trick stabs to protect their egos, but actively choosing to elongate that fight for as much as
back in the corner and get backstabbed
is downright psychotic, which is true of any class, but especially bad for a class that's going to snowball off of your death like a spy is. Like, okay, let's pretend this is an alternate universe where not every spy in the fucking world uses the kunai and is always at 200 health because there is no god. With the stock kukri, you only need to hit the spy twice in quick succession or once with a random crit and he's dead. Risky,
you get a random
but simple.
Crit.
In the best case scenario,
the
fight
not
should
get
last longer
backstabbed?
than a couple of seconds, and it might even be over before the spy realizes it's begun. With the Bushwhacker and Jarate, you coat the spy in P, which makes escape by cloaking no longer an option, then one-shot him.
Nice.
And then do the same thing 20 seconds later once your Jarate is recharged and the spy has respawned, because this combo is extremely balanced and very well thought out.
At least
with
it
the
takes down
Tribalman
spies.
Shiv, you hit the spy, wait around 6 seconds for the bleed to run its course,
and then do it again,
then hit him again, and then wait for him to bleed out again, because even after the initial bleed runs its course, a regular melee hit still isn't enough to finish him off. You need even more bleed time. By hitting the spy multiple times in quick succession, You are
It's a stall
racking up
tactic
more
for a class
immediate
that's not good
damage,
for stalling.
but you're also putting yourself more at risk of getting stabbed. And because bleed effects from the same weapon don't stack, you're not doing any extra bleed damage. Meaning, by hitting the spy while he's still bleeding, you're effectively resetting the bleed timer and wasting any damage that was left
while
still building
risking
up.
your
Meaning,
life.
the more you hit an enemy with this weapon in a realistic fight, the worse you're making its damage output compared to any of the other sniper melees. And this applies to everything you fight, not just spies. Let's look at it this way. If you hit an enemy in quick succession 2 times with the stock kukri, you will do 130 damage to them in about a second. Just enough to kill a light class. With the Tribalman Shiv, then that's 124 damage. If you hit them twice as fast as possible, and let the bleed completely run its course after an additional 6 seconds. Or rather, if the enemy lets the bleed run its course. In that time, then you could have killed about 6 more light classes with the kukri. Now, the obvious thought here is that you're not using it in a 1v1 against the spy, but rather you're using it to track down the spy after he's gone invisible to assist your team or your other weapons. Which, hey, is a nice thought and can actually be helpful sometimes, but not nearly to the degree you'd think.
Not for the trade-offs.
The gunmetal update, spies have a 20% damage resistance while cloaked,
that summer thing's not going to be as good as we think it's going to be.
And a 50% reduction in debuff timers. And in Meet Your Match, he was given the same base speed as Medic, meaning if it's a chase you're getting into, you likely won't be able to catch up with him unless he lets you do so. This means if you manage to catch up with a spy and hit him while he's invisible with the Shiv, you will do a pitiful 50 damage compared to your normal 81 after all the bleed runs out, and you'll only deal 3 seconds of bleed damage compared to your normal 6. So you're not only doing way less damage, so little damage you're not even going to be able to kill an invisible kunai spy without a stab under his belt, but it means tracking down the spy is going to be much more difficult than if you had the full 6 seconds to work with. Now, if you or a teammate can follow up on that in one of the situations seconds the spy is going to be invisible, reason to use it. Great, but it still utterly pales in comparison to Girardi, which is one, not nearly as finicky as TF2's notoriously janky melee, 2, far more visible with the bleed effect, 3, is much better for supporting anyone else who shoots at the spy, since the effect is mini crits on hit instead of a simple DOT, 4, combos perfectly with a melee weapon that will one-shot the spy regardless of the cloak resistance, unless he's using the kunai and has 200 health, because of course he fucking does. This is the universe we live in and there is no god. And 5, lets you use any of the actual fucking melee weapons that are good for close-range self-defense in any other situation besides just fighting spies. And you might be saying that what it's good for is tracking down and damaging a spy who pulls out his dead ringer. And in theory, you'd be right. But in practice,
I wonder where he went.
activating the dead ringer also nullifies the bleed effect. Just like a
Ubers. That's spy.
Yeah, just like a backstab from the kunai will do. So if you get in a fight with that kunai spy, you'd better fucking hope you win. And if the spy is using both the kunai and the dead ringer, which of course he is because it's the universe we live in, spies share one collective brain cell, there is no god, then there's no hope for you.
I think he's a little mad at spies.
Basically no situations in which the Shiv isn't completely outclassed, especially by the Girardi
the tunnel vision.
Combo.
It's still there. We go. Only because you.
But that doesn't make it entirely useless. Its effectiveness against spies can still help you if your secondary weapon is not Girardi, because at that point there's just no benefit to not using the bushwhacker or using the Girardi itself to coat the spy. And if you ask me, the best of these secondaries to pair with the Shiv is the Razorback. Snipers other middle finger to spies.
Yes.
I don't know, maybe the carbine counts in there too. Anyway, the Razorback can certainly act as an effective spy deterrent.
People literally target me when I stream because I play with viewers. It's just how it is.
And with the bushwhacker, there's no benefit to running these two weapons together. And in fact, you'll lose out on the random crits of the other melees.
An asterisk.
But with the Shiv, you can still use bleed in a supportive manner to help your teammates track down the spy,
I just wouldn't hit the
or
melee.
track him down yourself.
Because hit rate's
so you
so
can
bad.
not only keep the spies from backstabbing you, but also help to kill them once you've caught them out. This even makes engaging in a melee fight with a spy to begin with a lot more feasible, since he can't try to trick stab you without crippling himself for a few seconds by breaking your Razorback. Now, the obvious problem with this is the obvious problem with the Razorback in general. Spy has a gun. Now, a lot of spy players either don't realize this or just don't care, because the only reason they play this game is to get footage for their backstabbing montages interspliced with random footage from K-On! But if you happen to run into a headshot happy ambassador spy, or someone who just knows how to back up away from you while you run at them with your melee, then you're honestly better off either switching loadouts or switching classes. But hey,
for some reason,
can't get free health off me if you can't backstab me, you weeb-ass interp-abusing kunai fuck. Look, I wouldn't be so goddamn bitter about it if any spy in the universe used literally any other knife ever. I can't even fucking remember the last time I saw a spycicle. However, another issue that pops up is that the Razorback being a spy deterrent means you won't get much chance
my streams have really good spy players, like Zero and Lucky,
unless it's on their terms with a gun. If a spy chooses not to engage with you, then you have to run around like an idiot holding your class's weakest melee, just sort of hoping you run into one. This set is at its most useful when you're playing around your team and are able to catch out a spy who tries for a backstab on your nearby teammates. If you're off on your own, you'll just end up being revolver bait, or at best, a preventative measure that has no chance of seeing what you're preventing.
Which kind of defeats the purpose of,
that's the story with the Razorback in general. Now, while the Razorback is definitely the best in terms of synergy, I think the SMG also deserves special mention. The stock SMG can pair decently with the Shiv if you're good at tracking. By getting the initial hit on a spy, you can help to offset both the low damage of the Shiv attack itself and the shortened debuff time by just keeping your crosshair on the spy with the SMG and following his movements as best you can. All while stacking the bleed damage with your SMG volley, which can drain any enemy's health pretty quickly.
Run away,
he might still be able to juke you out, but it can give you a lot more wiggle room to work with and potentially secure a kill on a spy who would have gotten away if you were just using bleed on its own. You could also use the carbine to more easily spy check and get those mini crit bleeds, but again, if you're cursing yourself by running with the carbine already, then make life easier on yourself and just use the bushwhacker, because for as jank as the carbine is, at least Sniper Night is actually fun when it works. Yes!
He's got a triple with a knife. That's pretty impressive.
That was fucking perfect.
And he wasn't a kunai or a big earner spy.
Unfortunately, that's kind of it, though. The Shiv isn't a terrible tool to use against spies, but I can say the same thing about the Razorback, and I can also just as easily list many similar problems. It's very easy for the spy to circumvent with his gun, and more importantly, spy is the only thing it's effective against. I get into melee fights more often than the average sniper because I tend to play more aggressively. And I can only think of the intro clip as the single non-spy kill that I got with the Shiv that I couldn't have gotten just as easily with the stock Kukri. But I can definitely think of plenty of kills I missed out on because I wasn't using stock. It's that bad. What can we do? Well, I think there's a few routes you could go down with this thing. A full reversion of the weapon's core design is an easy route to take, since it's so antithetical to how long you want a close-range sniper fight to last, but let's limit ourselves to sticking with the bleed concept. One thing you could do is get rid of the damage penalty altogether and turn this into the sniper's version of the Boston Basher, where missing will cause you to damage and inflict bleed on yourself. This would add a much larger level of risk versus reward to the weapon.
Yeah, I don't know about that idea.
Where you not only have a low health pool limiting your mistake allowance, but having a DOT effect applied to you can also ruin your aim for several seconds. It would also bring your maximum damage with the full bleed effect up to 113 or 148 if you're mini crit boosted, which is a lot more impactful. Meanwhile, over on my rebalance server, link in the description, we've added a few new effects to the existing design. For starters, we've increased the bleed duration to 8 seconds, added a speed boost on hit, making this technically the only sniper weapon in the game with some kind of movement tech, and the hit and bleed will pierce damage resistances like Spy Cloak, and others like the Battalion's backup. This makes it much better at its job of being a spy tracker, and with the speed boost, you can either use it for a quick hit and run getaway, or to keep up the pace.
Yeah, it's kind of like the big earner. I love using the big earner.
More bleed, or to follow up with
I'm
an
a big
SMG
earner spy.
It's a weapon that might need a few more tweaks, but the version we have is definitely an improvement over the vanilla Shiv.
Oh,
and
yeah.
that just about wraps things
up.
There's
no question there. Almost anything's better.
Of Sniper's entire weapon arsenal, and it's one of the worst weapons in the game. The classic and Sydney Sleeper will still do solid long-range damage if you're patient enough to wait on the charge.
Yeah,
and
I know
even
people are
the
gonna ask about
Carbine
the
has its moments of absolute Sniper Night carnage. But the Shiv is really just pigeonholed into this anti-spy niche almost as much as the Razorback is. And I'm not exactly a fan of that weapon either. So their synergy isn't something that really speaks to me. But that's what's best for it right now. So go out there and encourage spies to donate to their local blood drive and tell them
you can festivize, can't you? Wow, in the air. It's Spider-Man. That's a Spider-Man pose right there.
Funny ragdoll.
That was a ragdoll? But yeah, the update is coming out in the summer. It's not what everybody thinks it's going to be, unfortunately. I didn't think so. They went back and changed what the blog post said. I think a Maxo or something like that. I think one of the TF2 YouTubers, it popped up in my feed the other night, were talking about how they changed it, which is just super disappointing. I didn't have high hopes when the news dropped, based on how they're talking. It was like a Sonic Sega All-Stars, what? I didn't have super high hopes when I did see that, when they talked about being a holiday-sized update or whatever. When before I think it was called something else or something. I'm like, yeah, it's just gonna be like Smithmas. But people were thinking we were gonna get like new guns and stuff like that. But it's probably just gonna be new maps, a new crate, some skins, maybe new taunts or unusual effects. There's Kyogre, hello. I'm uploading my Pokemon White 2 Nuzlocke on my gaming channel, Duck Goes Gaming.
Oh, right. We have a video game to play.
Oh.
Oh, please.
Nice. Yeah. The duck watching you? Excuse me?
Despise the imposter.
And I
despise the imposter.
Oh, yeah.
Nice. Oh. How did you mess that up? What? You have no health. All he had to do was run into you.
Oh my god.
All he had to do was touch you. And he couldn't do that.
What was that?
All he had to do was shield bash him, and he would have killed him. But this was Bad Weapon Academy, the Tribalman Shiv. I'm not sure if I've ever seen anybody use it. I have absolutely not used it. I do read every single one of your comments, leave them down below. Let me know what the next TF2 video should be. It might be a next Bad Weapon Academy. I'm still waiting on Man's Guide. They're supposed to drop like Man's Guide like once a year, and it's been probably what, 15 months since the last Man Guides video by Soundsmith. So that I really look forward. I really enjoy the Man's Guide videos. So I'm not really sure if he's posting an update on that or not, but I will absolutely react to that when it comes out. I know Lazy Purple dropped a video not too long ago. I think it was a long video, but I know he's not a huge fan of reaction videos, so I wanted to wait a while before I dropped a reaction to that video, just to make sure it was okay with him, just so it didn't bother him or anything like that, because I know how he had problems with reaction videos in the past, but he seems to be okay with them now. I just didn't want to step on any toes. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Like I said, I'll be streaming Team Fortress 2 this coming up Friday, playing with viewers over on Twitch, 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You join my Discord server because we talk in there, and I also notify you every single time I go live, which is Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But this is a Tribalman Shiv. It's really bad. I don't like the colors. It kind of looks cool with how the blade is, but it's not good. It's another one of the situations where it's just kind of like, why use it if there's no other good option, you know? Like, there's so many better options to use it for than what it is used for, you know? Like, why would you use that over something else? It happens a lot in Team Fortress 2 and Bad Weapon Academy, but it's in a playlist on my channel with all my other Bad Weapon Academy reactions going in chronological order, but I hope you have a wonderful rest today. Hopefully I made it a tiny little better, but until next video, take care, and cue the music.
We were playing as soldiers.